You're listening to the Tigers Den podcast. New episodes dropping every Monday at 3:30 p.m. Central Time, available to stream across all platforms. Also, be sure to check out Play Callers. New episodes dropping every Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. Central Time, available to stream across all platforms.
Hello and welcome to the Tigers Den episode 2. Man, we had a great debut episode and already have a loyal fan base to our channel. We're so thankful and can't wait to dive into this week's stories. We got headliners lined up for you. We're going to talk about Julio Urias, I think I'm saying that right. Star Dodgers pitcher actually arrested this past weekend. Michigan football's protest for Jim Harbaugh and the analyzation of this weekend's college football games and next weekend's NFL games. We're bound for a good episode today. Reese, you want to start them off?
This just in, it's time for Have You Heard?
Yes, so this week, or this weekend was a crazy weekend for football, and we're almost to the NFL season too. But one thing I want to get started off with, LSU coach Brian Kelly, before the game, he made some comments, that he was talking about Florida State, and they got absolutely blown out by LSU or by Florida State, and it was not fun. And it looks like his comments came back to haunt him. Kelly predicted a very different outcome. He said that LSU was going to blow out Florida State. And as you see, Florida State obviously just, ran them over and got like 3 picks on Daniels. And, I don't really know what to think of this, especially, Brian Kelly is he has high expectations this year. With LSU, especially starting off the year number 5 in the country. And, with those comments, a lot of coaches could really be disrespected like that. And, Florida State's coach was, I guess he felt disrespected and he just ran over LSU.
Brian Kelly's always been like that, though. Even at Notre Dame, he was like that.
Yeah,
Look what Notre Dame did. Absolutely nothing. Notre Dame sucks. I hate Notre Dame.
All right, anything else for us, Reese?
Dodgers pitcher Julio Urias got arrested on domestic violence charges again. This is not the first time. This time it was a felony domestic charge. According to this, it says that late Sunday, Los Angeles police responded to the second domestic violence arrest of Julio Urias in 4 years. He's soon to be a free agent. He's only 27 years old, but he was arrested last night shortly after 11 p.m., and he was booked into jail around 1, and he was released this morning, but this is not the first time, so obviously whoever this was probably reported it multiple times, and also this is going to hurt a guy like Julio Urias, especially how good of a pitcher he is. And especially he's on a big market team, the Dodgers, and the Dodgers I don't think the Dodgers will put up with with guys getting arrested and stuff like that.
Yeah, and he's like a free agent. So
he's a free agent.
We're going to be hesitant to sign him.
Yeah, the Dodgers probably won't re-sign him or anything. And also he might, Trevor Bauer, we saw this I think it was 2 years ago. Trevor Bauer got he did the same thing, and he's playing over in China or whatever, and he's on a 3-year ban from the MLB. So yeah, we might see the same thing with Julio Urias.
Am I the only person that looks at Julio Urias and he looks like the nicest person ever? Is that just me? He doesn't look like he would do something like that.
I dislike him so much. It's just the way he looks.
It's because you're a Braves fan, Reese. You don't like him.
So are you.
Okay, I don't have personal bias.
Guys, friendly fire.
Gosh.
All right, anything else, Reese?
Not as bad as a New Orleans fan, though.
Okay.
In other news, Georgia continues to have troubles with speeding charges. One of Georgia's staff members, Javaris Jones, was arrested on charges of reckless driving and speeding less than 24 hours before the Georgia season opener. He was a former linebacker for Georgia, and he also played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But he was also released. But we continue to see this with Georgia. It's not a new thing. Especially Kirby Smart talked about this at SEC Media Days. He said that he wanted to reduce he wanted to have a curfew for some of these players and some of these coaches for driving and stuff like that. But it seems like this isn't working out, and Kirby Smart's going to have to find some way to keep track of his players and his coaching staff.
Well, I mean, you gotta. They talk about building the culture there, and seems like their culture has turned not into using the brake. Whenever
At least they're number one.
So,
They don't care.
I mean, yeah, hey, they're number one. Yes,
For now.
fair.
For now,
But-
UT Martin should have put up 20.
Dude, their schedule is awful.
Yeah, I know.
They don't play a single ranked opponent until Tennessee.
I remember I was talking to one of the guys up at the Auburn radio station, and he at SEC Media Days started. Now this is a while back in July, but he at SEC Media Days took a picture of a cupcake and said, "Is this Georgia schedule?" Just a slight jab, but the amount of Georgia fans that started tirading him and everything, and he went trending on Twitter. But it's true. I mean, they have an easy schedule. But like you said, they are number one. So speeding or not,
I mean, I think they're
until
still
they lose,
good,
it
even though they have a
doesn't matter.
bad schedule. I think they're still going to make the playoff, probably win the SEC championship.
Yeah, I totally agree. So
Yeah,
anything else, Reese?
Kyler Murray got named starter, or no, he got named captain actually. Even though
But he's not even playing.
Bro.
I know he's injured. He got named captain. The new coach named him captain after he got injured.
How
And
injured is he? How long is he out?
he's on the PUP list.
Yeah, I think it's estimated around well, I can look it up real quick.
Week.
Who's the Cardinals quarterback? Colt McCoy?
No, it's Josh Dobbs because they cut Colt McCoy.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, they picked up Josh Dobbs.
Well,
and cut Colt McCoy.
Cardinals going 2-15 this year.
Yep. Yeah,
Caleb Williams, I'll see you on the Cardinals real soon.
they
Yeah,
sneak one in.
Caleb Williams, you are an Arizona Cardinal.
Yeah, they
so.
might sneak one in though. You never know.
No.
Yes.
But
Who? Jalen
Who
Milrow?
won't sneak it in? The Saints.
okay, man.
On Monday Night
Any
Football.
any chance you take, man.
But the last thing is, on Saturday, Michigan decided to do a little protest for Jim Harbaugh. So
yeah, I saw that.
the weirdest formation I've ever seen, and they all I think they raised their left hand and they just they stood there for maybe 5 seconds and then all broke apart, and it was just a protest for Jim Harbaugh, for him being on a suspension, which is just 3 games. And
Dude, Michigan did not look good against East Carolina, in my opinion.
yeah, that was actually surprising. That was one thing I was wanting to talk about. Michigan did not. I did not expect. Well, I mean, East Carolina is a decent football team because they beat last year. I'm pretty sure they beat a Power 5 school at their place, but
Close to beating NC State, but they lost. So
yeah, I remember watching some of that game. Somebody got body.
East Carolina's poverty. Michigan should have won by, probably 50.
What are you, a Western Carolina fan or something?
Yeah,
Is Western Carolina even a school?
Yes.
it actually is.
They play
Actually is.
Arkansas?
You're not wrong.
It's just like Ohio State. Ohio State barely beat Indiana.
Yeah,
No,
I'd be more worried about Ohio State situation than Michigan.
That's what I was-
I'm being honest.
that's what I was seeing.
But we'll get into that later.
I was looking at a lot of the fan bases that were disappointed after week 1 and wanted their coaches fired, and Ohio State was number 1 for some reason.
Bro, I mean, I understand. I think Max goes into that a little bit later, though.
Yeah.
I do. So I do.
Well, that's it for Have You Heard? So
All right. Well, next we got our weekend rundown.
This is the weekend rundown.
And we're going to go ahead and start off with some boxing. Now, I'm a big boxing fan. I know. It's
Max
a bit of a left turn by me.
I'm gonna
today.
box Drew Brees into the freaking field goal.
Good one, Reese. Good one, Reese. But anyway, Chris Eubank Jr. TKO'd Liam Smith in the 10th round in a rematch of their fight 8 months ago on January 21st when Smith TKO'd Eubank Jr. But this is a big win for Eubank because it makes him an official, legit title contender. I don't think he'll immediately go for Jermell Charlo because Jermell Charlo wants to fight other fighters such as Terrence Crawford. But I do think that this puts him in the actual running. And we might actually get to see Eubank versus Ben, who, if you're not a boxing fan, back in, I think it was like the 1970s or 80s, Eubank versus Ben, both of these fighters are sons of former like world champions, multi-time world champions. And both their fathers had a trilogy against each other back in the 70s or 80s. And it was one of the biggest British boxing trilogies in the world. And Connor Ben and Eubank Jr. are both about like 30-3. As I actually have Chris Eubank's official record is 33-3 after the win over Smith. They're thinking about fighting each other, which would be a huge matchup. They were supposed to fight a couple months ago, but it didn't end up happening because of hydration issues. All that being said, Liam Smith is now 33-4-1 at age 35 with 20 KOs. And a lot of people are actually saying that because he didn't look good at all in this fight. I recommend y'all watch it back. Eubank Jr., he was literally like a punching bag the entire last 5 rounds of the match. It started off, they were kind of like trading shots a little bit, but Smith just clearly shows that he doesn't have it anymore. And so a lot of people think this might send him into retirement. While at age 33, Eubank he moves to 33-3 with 24 KOs. And his official call-outs were Connor Ben, Kell Brook, and GGG. Kell Brook's an interesting one because he's 37, and the last time he held a belt, I think, was in 2017. So I don't think that would be a great fight for him. If he did take it, it would show that he's kind of taken the easier fight, and he would probably win easily. And then he also called out GGG, who's 42-2 and is currently ranked the number 1 middleweight in the world. And so I don't think he'll get that fight. I think GGG might want to fight Canelo one more time, even though they've had 3 fights and they've all been really close. But yeah, I think the most likely one we'll get is Eubank versus Ben, and I'm very excited to see that fight.
You know who else got sent in retirement? Drew Brees by the Vikings.
He actually played like 2 more seasons after that. Thank you.
No, he didn't.
But
Dude, I
anyways,
wish boxing was advertised
we'll go to
more,
next.
though.
We got FIBA. So this was a big one that we saw. USA got upset against Lithuania 110-104, and yeah, Lithuania moves to 5-0 in FIBA, and USA moves to 4-1. And in 29 minutes, Anthony Edwards scored 35 points off of 14 for 26 shooting, as well as was 5 for 13 from 3. But he didn't have any help. Nobody else scored over 15 points on the team, including like the likes of Jalen Brunson, and who was supposed to be the leader of the team, but he hasn't showed out in the last 2 games. And for Lithuania, Jonas Valanciunas scored 12 points off of 4 from 6 shooting and was 1 for 1 from 3, and he also had 7 rebounds. I mean, a lot of people are talking about, this might be the USA team to actually win the World Cup, the FIBA World Cup, and because they haven't looked good the last couple of years that they've gone, and they've gotten upset by nobody teams. And this is another example. I mean, besides Valanciunas, there's no other NBA starters on the team, and Valanciunas, even as the Pelicans fans, I'll say he's a very, edge starter. Like he could be replaced by someone very easily. So yeah, if you're USA, I mean, this is kind of an eye-opener. Once again, I don't know how many eye-openers they need. I don't know how asleep they are. But they better wake up now or soon, or else they're going to get blown out by teams like Germany, who beat Slovenia 100-71. And the main reason I talk about this one is because Slovenia had Luka Doncic. Both these teams were 4-0 going into the matchup, and they got beat. And Slovenia was looking unstoppable with Luka. And Luka in this game only had, he had 23 points on 9 of 22 shooting. But the big kicker is he was 2 for 11 from 3, which is not good at all. And he also had 6 assists and 6 rebounds. But big surprise as well was Dennis Schroeder. He scored 24 points off of 8 of 11 shooting, as well as 4 for 7 from 3. Also had 2 rebounds and 10 assists. So it was a double-double. Yeah, so, I mean, big reaction to this would be, Luka Doncic, he's a great player and stuff, but he hasn't performed well at the national level. And last year, I mean, really with the Mavericks, they ended up being worse after their trade with Kyrie. And so I know we're a ways away from NBA season starting, but I would be kind of worried if I was the Mavericks, just a little bit.
Why would you be worried, bro? Luka Doncic is the GOAT.
I mean, he is, but you look at how he performed, 2 for 11 from 3. I mean, it might even just be like, FIBA and across the world and stuff. But
he'll drop 85 next game.
Dude,
Next game?
I feel like I haven't heard of the USA national basketball team since what year was that? There was a year that it was like the Redeem team. It was
You mean the
Kobe,
team?
LeBron, KD.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
No, but
the Redeem. I think it was called the Redeem team. I'm pretty sure on ESPN.
Yeah, well, that's why this year's USA team is so big in a lot of people's eyes, and why they're actually kind of getting news relevance again, is because the last couple of years they've been so bad that nobody's even heard of them.
Because Draymond Green is the captain.
Exactly, they've just wanted to forget about him. So, I mean, this year they were looking good the last couple of games, but here we go, losing to Lithuania, who has a bunch of nobodies, and so I don't know. But anyway, now let's move into football. This season of the year sport, football, and we'll start with some high school. And I want to start with Vestavia Hills. Number 4 Vestavia Hills, they defeated Homewood 43-0 to move to 2-0. And after Auburn's loss, which I'll get into later, we'll probably be set for a top 3 showdown on the road against the number 1 Thompson Warriors on Friday night at 7. That's going to be a huge game. The Rebels have looked really good this season, and especially with edge Jordan Ross, who's the number 1, I think he's the number 1 edge in the country for this year's class, or not this year's, next year's, 2024. And, the Vestavia Hills, I'm not saying they're going to beat Thompson, but I think that game will be a good one to watch. And I believe that if anybody's going to beat them this year, it's either Central or next best up, Vestavia Hills. And the next time they won't see Central until the state championship. And I'll move on to the next one. Another big surprise is number 6 Hoover. They lost to number 10 team in Mississippi, Oak Grove, in overtime by a score of 28-21. Now, it is the number 10 team in Mississippi. I'll give it to them. But Hoover is now 0-2 for the first time since 2014 and will have to go on the road to face a tough 2-0 Spain Park team who has Jared Smith, who, if you haven't heard of him, according to 247, he is the number 1 ranked edge in the 2025 recruiting class. So he's only a sophomore, but he's also the number 3 ranked player in Alabama and number 14th nationally in that class. I mean, if you're Hoover, I mean, you do not want to start 0-3 because I couldn't even go back far enough to find when's the last time they started 0-3. And
that's what they get for making their schedule so hard, man.
Exactly, I know they loaded their schedule, and that
you want to play these cool out-of-state Mississippi games, but look where it got you. I mean, you're 0-2 now. You were ranked number 4 in Alabama. Now you were number 6, and now you're probably going to move down even more, probably about number 9 or 10. And it's just devastating for them. I mean, Hoover is like a powerhouse when it comes to high school football.
Exactly.
And right now they're just not living up to it right now.
Yeah, most state championships in Alabama history, and that 0-2 season I speak of, where they started 0-2 in 2014, they faced the number 1 team in Florida and the number 1 team in Georgia to start the season. Similar to what we saw with Thompson last year facing Buford, and I think it was, I can't remember who it was, but it was one of the best teams in Tennessee. So, but, I mean, Hoover did lose to Auburn in the first game, which, I would like to say Auburn's a powerhouse, but we'll get to more on that later on why they're not. And I don't want to down our team. But yeah. And so Hoover's in trouble. I mean, if they lose this game against Spain Park, which, I mean, we'll see what we pick on Age's Countdown this Friday. But I'm just saying I wouldn't necessarily call it an upset if Spain Park beats them at home. And next we got Central Red Devils. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Whoop Smith Station, 51-0. Moved on to 2-0 overall and 1-0 in the region. And they're heading to Enterprise to take on the currently number 5 Enterprise Wildcats on Friday at 7, who, after their upset of the Tigers, that game becomes astronomically huge, as probably one of Central's toughest games the rest of the year, I would say. And so, that one's going to be a big one. And then next one also set up a big one, this next matchup. Number 7, Dothan High. They beat Percy Julie and whooped them as well, 42-6 to move to 2-0 and 1-0 in the region. And they're going into a big matchup against the number 2 Auburn Tigers currently at home on Friday at 7. And speaking of the Auburn Tigers, Auburn lost to Enterprise at home by a score of 17-16. And I don't really feel like taking a deep dive into this game because we actually already have tomorrow at 3:30. We have a breakdown of this game releasing on Play Callers, so go listen to that. But I mean, it was kind of a very chill, and I think I said this on Countdown, it was a very chill high school football week, but a lot of the results from this week set up huge games next week. I mean, we got, Hoover at Spain Park, who while Hoover's 2-0, that sets up a big storyline. Are they going to go 0-3? And then Vestavia Hills at Thompson, probably going to be the game of the state, like the state game of the week. And then we also have Central Enterprise for the lead in Region 2 as well. And then, of course, Auburn at Dothan. Auburn trying to bounce back. And then Dothan looking to, prove that they are one of the better teams in Region 2 as well. And then we'll move on to college football. The start week 1, which I know we had week 0 a week ago, but we had week 1 this weekend. And let's go ahead and get started with number 21 North Carolina beat South Carolina. The college game day game turned out to be, it wasn't a whooping per se, but, North Carolina had this game in the
we'll
bag.
go more into that game a little later.
More into that game a little later. All right, I hear you.
Little sneak peek.
Yeah, but anyway, North Carolina beat up the Gamecocks 31-17. Also, number 3 Ohio State struggled, but won on the road 23-3 against Indiana. Auburn, to put it into perspective of how much they struggled, sorry, I can't speak today, they were only up 10-3 at halftime and 7-3 in the middle of the second quarter until they hit a field goal before halftime to make it 10-3. And, so Ohio State, they gave Kyle McCord the start, and he went 20 for 33 with 239 passing yards and 1 interception. He also had 2 carries for 8 yards. And then also another one, I know you're a fan of this, Taylor. Number 15, Oregon walloped Portland State 81-7 at home.
Nick's Heisman season coming in.
And
super hot.
I mean,
it doesn't count.
I might actually agree with you after stats in this game, but to put into perspective how much they whooped them by, the Ducks scored 50 points in the first half.
Yeah,
and they also scored 28 points in just the second quarter.
Nick, because he's the GOAT.
He's okay. Never mind.
You can't even say it. Yeah, you can't even say it because also
the mascot
in that game. You want to hear how accurate and precise he was? 23 for 27, which I get it's against Portland State, but he went 23 for 27 with 287 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
And he you know what they say, he's having fun, and he could be a dark horse.
He's focused on having fun. Let's freaking go.
Yeah, so he's having fun, all right. And you know who else is having fun? Is Colorado. Prime time in the
Let's
Buff.
go!
Taylor was right, and I have already apologized to him for, literally and figuratively sleeping on the Buffaloes.
Never. I will never apologize for what I thought.
I will
snored during my segment, and I told y'all that Colorado was going to come out, they were going to win, and they're going to win the Big 12, the Pac-12 this year.
Okay, I wouldn't say that much, Taylor, but this was a good game, and Colorado proved that Prime was speaking facts all summer. He was saying, I'm coming here, and I'm coming here to win. And he proved it on Saturday. They beat number 7 TCU on the road 45-42 for the Buffs' first win over a ranked team since September 21st of 2019 when they beat number 24 Arizona State 34-31 on the road.
I will admit that I think Nebraska and Colorado, I think Colorado's going to win by 50 points, but
for sure.
Definitely thought TCU was good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, but Colorado proved that they were better. And they were also a 21-point underdog going into that game. And they have 2 immediate Heisman contenders in my mind, and possibly for first-round picks in next year's draft. Shedeur Sanders, who had a program record of 510 passing yards on 38 for 47 passing with 4 passing touchdowns. And then Travis Hunter, he played a total of 137 snaps and had 11 receptions for 119 receiving yards.
Certified dog!
As well as had 3 tackles and an interception. Listen, say what you want about the Buffaloes. They're here, and they're here to stay after that win. I mean, absolutely blew my mind, and they actually made me a fan of them. I was watching that game, and I was like, wow, they played with so much heart, and I'm looking forward to that Nebraska game this upcoming Saturday. And I think it's going
to be a blowout, honestly. Nebraska sucks.
Well, you know what the line is going into it. It's Colorado by 5.
It jumped as soon as they won. It jumped from Nebraska 9.5 to Colorado by 5.
Yeah. So, but that stadium will be jumping, and I will be watching that game. I'm excited for it. And then, last but not least, number 8 Florida State beat number 5 LSU 45-24 in Orlando. Jordan Travis accounted for 5 total touchdowns, and Keon Coleman had 9 catches for 122 receiving yards and 3 receiving touchdowns. Now, this game, a lot of people are expecting to be like super close. Like last year's game literally came down to a missed extra point. But, I mean, Florida State just showed that they're a much better team this year, much better than they were last year, but also much better than this year's LSU team. And, yeah, I think they're my favorite to win the ACC and make the playoffs this year. I feel like they could easily wipe the slate, or not wipe the slate, excuse me, but like go 12-0, and especially how Clemson's playing against Duke right now.
If you go back to our last episode of Tigers Den, you will hear Taylor act like Ed Orgeron, and Taylor.
Hey, who went 10-2?
How did that work out, Taylor?
Who went 10-2? Yeah.
Hey,
you want to keep talking?
How did that work out?
Yeah, you want to keep talking? 10-2?
How did that work out?
Yeah.
How did that work out?
At me.
Anyway, that's going to be it for my weekend rundown. And what segment we got next?
Go Tigers!
Taylor's Team Huddle. Roll that intro.
Huddle up, because it's time for Taylor's Team Huddle.
All right. So last week, I picked a new team. I picked a team with a lot of new faces around. Picked a team that had potential. Colorado Buffalo. Shout out.
Okay.
But I got to go to the NFL. New York Jets fans, let's freaking go for this week. I'm so pumped for the Jets. There's so much to be excited for this team. Last year alone, they were the 4th ranked best defense, and their coach Robert Saleh said they want to get to first. They signed an 8-year starter, top safety Adrian Amos, and they have returning players such as Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Sauce Gardner. That's Sauce Gardner. Yes, he's got the sauce. And on offense, they got returning Offensive Rookie of the Year, Garrett Wilson. They got 2 decent receivers in free agency from also the Packers, Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb. And off the bench, they got a speed threat, McCole Hardman Jr., that we saw on the Chiefs that would just probably catch the ball like 90 yards from Patrick Mahomes.
Terrible.
They have 2 top, I would say, 15 running backs in Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook. 2 fantasy running backs, 2 top running backs. Of course, they signed Dalvin Cook because they have all the money that they want. And, of course, the veteran, the 8-time Pro Bowler, the Super Bowl champ, the Green Bay legend, the future Hall of Famer, Aaron freaking Rodgers. He is a huge signing for the Jets. He's on a 2-year, $75 million contract. He's bound for a great year with all these weapons. I mean, this offense, it's just insane on paper. And, I mean, I guess you could say this is a hot take, but I got the Jets winning their division over the Bills, Patriots, and Dolphins. They have a huge opportunity to do that on Monday Night Football against the Bills. That's why they need to huddle up, because they got a huge game on Monday Night Football against the Bills. They're favored to lose. Yeah, it's at home. They're going to win. The only weakness on this team is the O-line. They only rank 24 in predictions. But, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he's old, but he can still run a little bit. They have a predicted 47% chance to make the playoffs. But just go ahead and make that 100. Just make that 100. Because they're going 13-4. They need to huddle up. They need to have a big week. Prove themselves. Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, I mean, I think he could win Offensive Player of the Year. I'm being so for real over Justin Jefferson, all those people, because he's just so good. Thank you, and don't ever underestimate my segment. Don't ever sleep on my segment. Don't ever do anything, because I'm the GOAT.
Don't get me wrong. I think the Jets will or should make the playoffs, but I don't think they will. I think that something's going to go wrong like it did last year, because I was literally...
Dude, last year their quarterback was Zach Wilson. What do you
I was praising them all of last year, though, and they didn't make it. And then what am I going to do?
For good reason, Zach Wilson.
What am I going to do this year? Praise them. They're not going to make it.
Here's what I'll say. I mean, I compare it a lot to originally when the Rodgers trade was made. I compared it a lot to like the Buccaneers, Tom Brady. It's kind of similar. Great quarterback, going to go down in the Hall of Fame. Spending what's probably going to be his last 2 seasons at some other franchise, trying to get them to a Super Bowl and win it. And we saw what Tom Brady did. He came in and he conquered. He won the Super Bowl. And I just could look at their rosters, and I would take this Jets roster any day over that Buccaneers roster. I mean, they got all the weapons.
Baker.
I mean, I hate to agree with Taylor, but I have to here. I mean, like the Jets, you look at their weapons they got on offense and defensively, they're probably the best they've been in about like a decade. And so, yeah, I mean, the Jets, they're going to be good this year. Would I bet money that they win the Super Bowl right now? Probably not. But
Yeah.
I'd say there's they have as good a chance as any of the other contenders, including the Chiefs. But Taylor, have you ever wanted to watch or Taylor and Reese, actually, this is a question for both of y'all. Just real quick. Have you ever wanted to watch, kind of like a documentary series that like follows a team? They have high expectations, but they got some challenges going on. But you want to see how they fare throughout the season. Have you ever wanted to watch something like that?
Are you talking about Hard Knocks?
I'm actually not talking about Hard Knocks. I'm talking about Blue Collar Mentality. Go watch it on HiDef Mass Media's YouTube channel. And we got a new episode dropping every Wednesday. But yeah, no, go watch Blue Collar Mentality. Yeah, it'll get you right. Anyway, what's the next segment? Is it? I think it's Road Ahead. I think I hear some cars starting up and driving.
Yeah, it's Road Ahead.
Yeah, Road Ahead, Reese.
This is Road Ahead. What's that? This is the Road Ahead. So this week we got we got Thursday night football.
Vroom vroom.
No, we got Thursday night football coming up this week. Week 1 of the NFL season in Arrowhead Stadium. I thought it was in Detroit.
I did too for a while.
Somebody said it's in Detroit.
Dude, we don't need to talk about this game. We all know the Chiefs are going to win by 40.
Shut up! The Lions are winning the Super Bowl.
What?
Okay. for you to disagree with his Jets take, but then say the Lions are winning the Super Bowl.
Are you an
preposterous,
MMG meat right? Like, do you just love MMG?
Actually, according to my calculations, I am.
All right. Well, is that all you got for the Road Ahead? Just Lions.
Sunday
about the Lions.
Sunday also. This is also the start of the NFL season. You got a lot of games on Sunday, including the Panthers.
Including the game that I'm going to, the Panthers versus Falcons, where Bryce Young makes his debut.
I'm so happy when the Falcons win. This is the only time I'll say that because I'm a Saints fan. But
including the Panthers start of their Super Bowl.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, Bryce Young.
And then then you have a lot of the 12 o'clock games on Sunday, and then you go to 3 o'clock slate, which features like the 12 o'clock slate features some games like the Titans and Saints. I'm picking.
Yeah, easy win for the Saints. I didn't even have to open my mouth.
Okay, buddy.
We're beating them by 14 easily.
You also got 49ers and Steelers. That should be a decent game. And then the Texans, CJ Stroud to make his debut against the Ravens, and Lamar Jackson, even though the line's 10 for Baltimore. And then you also have like Packers and Bears, Jordan Love's debut, and this is for the 325 slate. And then the Eagles, who choked in the Super Bowl, they play in New England at 3 o'clock. And then Sunday Night Football is everybody's favorite team, the Cowboys versus the Giants. And then
America's team, babe.
like Taylor said, Bills and Jets are on Monday night. And then also the road ahead, college football week 2 will be starting this Thursday as well. You'll see Louisville playing Murray State, which, that's probably not going to be that competitive of a game.
Okay, are you going to literally go through all the games for college football? Why'd you say Louisville,
buddy,
Murray State?
I'm going through all the decent ones.
Because Louisville,
how is that a
Yellow Jackets? So
how is that a decent game?
How is
Louisville at Murray State? You're like,
you're just mad
that games next week.
You're just mad that your Georgia Tech alma mater.
Hey, I'm not mad. Hey, Georgia Tech played actually better than I thought they would. That sucks to say because
for them to go 1-9.
I said, I went to the Georgia Tech game last year at Mercedes-Benz.
It was actually 2 years ago, but thank you.
They won, so I think they're gonna win again. And then he went 6-4.
Duke just recovered a fumble. No, Auburn.
Oh wait, and they scored.
Yeah, Auburn's gonna be playing out west. We saw Auburn. Hugh Freeze made his debut.
That's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that
Auburn
game.
in California. And then you know what I can't wait to see? At 10 a.m. on Saturday, just while game day's on, I'm going to be watching Vanderbilt win against Wake Forest.
Hey, that's a bold prediction.
Yeah, that is bold prediction.
And then, there's actually a good game. Notre Dame, 11 o'clock slate, is playing NC State.
Yeah.
NC State. That's at NC State, but.
Bro, talk about the good games. Come on.
Yeah, bro.
What about Nebraska and Colorado?
Colorado's going to win that game by a lot. We've already decided.
It's not a close one.
How about you talk about the 6 o'clock game, wink, wink?
Ole Miss and Tulane at 2:30.
No, not that one. The other one.
And then college game day, week 2, is going to be in Alabama. It's going to be in SkillsUSA.
Yeah.
There you go, Reese.
Alabama.
That's how you do it.
He made it there. That's why it's
At home.
It's a long road, but you made it
Texas. Oh, my God.
This man going all the way to California with the Auburn football team.
there.
Yep.
It's road travel everywhere. It's road travel everywhere.
Louisville and Murray State. That's a joke.
Yeah. Next, you're going to say Grambling at LSU.
There's another good game. Florida's playing.
Youngstown State at Ohio State. Come on.
UC Davis at Oregon State.
Austin P at Tennessee. What an upset for Austin P.
Nichols at TCU. TCU
Florida's playing McNeese, so that could be a good game. Both teams suck so bad. Tickets are
Charleston.
Tickets are as low as $15 if you want them. So.
Hey, Delaware looking
Is that it for your road ahead? Did you make it to your destination?
That's it. Road ahead. Taylor's predictions always suck, and mine are gonna be better all the time.
Nice outro. Well, next we got my main matchup. Go ahead and play that intro for me.
Get your popcorn ready. It's time for Max's main matchup.
And then today, we've already talked about it a couple times, but now it's time for me to talk about it. So, time to hear the truth about this game. And it's number 11, Texas, at number 4, Alabama. Everybody's looking forward to this game, especially in the state that we currently reside in. Alabama versus Texas. This was a huge game last year, and it lived up to the hype. It was a close game.
Except for that freaking
Alabama
targeting call in the end zone. That was the worst call I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. There was a lot of penalties, especially on the Alabama side. Hopefully that doesn't happen for them if you're a Tide fan this year. But the line opens up at 7 points going Alabama's way, and that's pretty interesting to me because I'm not going to lie, before I would say the only reason that it is that is because of how well not only Bama played last week this past weekend against Middle Tennessee, but how well Jalen Milroe played, because there were a lot of whispers saying, Texas is going to be heavily favored in that game because Alabama doesn't have a quarterback. But we saw that Jalen Milroe proved to be the guy, proved to be the next up quarterback. Saban always finds a way to get somebody in there that can perform. And that starts my players to look out for. For Bama, watch out for Jalen Milroe, who he threw for 194 yards off of 13-18 passing with 3 passing touchdowns. He also had 7 carries for 48 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. It's 5 touchdowns in total. Also, look out for Kool-Aid McKinstry, who, while he only had 3 tackles against Middle Tennessee, is one of the best lockdown safeties in this upcoming draft and in college football right now. And expect him to lock up. One of my players to look out for against Texas, which is Xavier Worthy, who caught 7 catches for 90 receiving yards. And then Quinn Ewers as well. It's all offense for Texas. This game I actually do think will be a shootout. Or if Texas wants to win, if Texas wants to win, they want this to be a shootout. If Alabama wants this to win, they want this to be a slow-going, hard-nosed game and a low-scoring game fought in the trenches.
You have to remember that Alabama hasn't lost at home in a while.
That is true. Yeah, Bryant-Denny is a tough place to play at. But Quinn Ewers, who had 260 passing yards off of 19 for 30 passing with 3 passing touchdowns against Rice, he'll look to knock off the Crimson Tide. And this will be a great game, really test both of the teams early on in the year. And this is also a big, it's similar to the LSU-Florida State game where it's automatically kind of I guess you'd say like a playoff position shifter early in the season for both of these teams. Because if it comes down to it, if you're like, 11-1 and this is one of your losses on your resume and there's another team that's 12-0, then that could be the deciding factor. But that's it for my main matchup. We'll move on to picking it later. But yeah, those are the keys to that game and the players to look out for. And now I feel the temperature rising. I don't know what does that mean? I need to check my thermostat.
Play the intro.
Okay, buddy.
The temperature is rising. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Taylor's Hottest Take.
It's hot in here. You know, I had to take my shirt off. I had to take my blanket off.
Hey,
I had to get some water, All right.
Out of water.
So, y'all been talking about this Florida State team. Yeah, they're good. Yeah, they're decent. Jordan Travis is legit. Clemson, we're kind of I'm watching them right now. They're struggling.
What is the score? I don't have it pulled up.
13-7 Duke. Clemson has a ball.
Oh my.
I mean, even if Duke wins, they're not number 9. Let's be so for real.
Yeah, no.
All right.
Never have been.
All right, let's stop talking about these two teams. Because you know who the ACC champs are going to be?
Florida State.
Who? North Carolina?
Nope.
Who?
The North Carolina Tar Heels.
I just said North Carolina, bro.
Champions this year.
Oh
They opened
my
up
God.
Against South Carolina, beat them 31-17.
Okay.
Drake May, the GOAT, went 24 for 32 with 269 yards.
And
Yes,
two
he did have 2
interceptions.
picks, but it was the first game against a tough South Carolina team. He'll bounce back. He'll be good. They had 2 running backs combined for 140 yards on 31 carries, and they had decent games with 2 touchdowns combined. British Brooks and Omarion Hampton, remember their names. They have deadly receivers in Kobe Paysor and John Koppenhaver, and their best receiver transfer, Devontae Walker from Kent State, did not even play. And, he's not even eligible to play right now, but he will play in week 2.
Yeah.
They have a deadly South Carolina team. On game day, I remember saying, Spencer Rattler versus Drake May, this is going to be a shootout. No. South Carolina will score 17 points. Everyone thought this would be a shootout. North Carolina had 9 sacks, and the only thing they need is turnovers, and they were set. They were going to win by 30. It didn't matter, but they only won by 14. Their defensive weapons consist of Kamon Rucker, Cedric Gray, and Tamari Fox. Remember those names as well, who all had tackles for losses and their own sacks. Amari Gaynor is also a name that stands out that had a sack. There's just a lot of to like about this team, and their schedule is a cakewalk until they get to Clemson, second to last week. So they could go 10-0, go against an overrated Clemson team and easily win, make the ACC championship, win against Florida State, make a New Year's Six Bowl. Thank you so much. Bring the heat. Go Tar Heels. I don't care. Whatever a Tar Heel is, go them. They're going to win the ACC. Clemson, Virginia Tech, Florida State. I can name all the ACC teams. They don't stand a chance against this North Carolina team. This North Carolina team's legit, and Drake May is going to come in second for the Heisman to Bo Nix.
Here's the thing. I agree with you that they're better than Clemson.
Yeah.
And I agree with you that I was surprised how good their defense showed up against South Carolina. I mean, a lot of people thought, that would be it for me and Reese, who did pick South Carolina, which ended up being wrong. But we picked them because we thought the defense would be better. Everybody knows that Drake May is a baller, and he's probably going to be a top 5 pick next year. And, Spencer Rattler's good, but, it was going to come down to who had the better defense, and it was ultimately North Carolina. Now, that being said, Florida State just looked unstoppable against LSU, and I guess we'll have to actually see because, that Florida State has so many weapons, but I guess that's why it's a hot take, You're going with your gut, and, you're picking who you think's going to win.
I would have to say after Florida State, if Florida State gets past Clemson and North Carolina gets past Clemson, which North Carolina doesn't play until almost the end of the season, I would say that's probably your ACC championship right there because both of their schedules are pretty easy. I know North Carolina plays App State this weekend, but App State, I don't really know if they're as good as they were last year. And North Carolina plays a Minnesota team that's mediocre. So, yeah. Really, I see North Carolina and Florida State in the ACC championship, but I would take Florida State in the ACC championship, honestly.
Yeah, I was about to ask, do they play North Carolina in the regular season, but they don't.
North Carolina does not play a ranked opponent until Clemson second to last week. So,
well, if they're even ranked by then, they'll probably be 8-4, or they'll probably be close to 8-4.
Now, here's the thing: do they play Clemson at home or away?
Away
in Death Valley.
Yeah. We'll see.
The real Death Valley.
We've seen that.
Clemson's still losing to Duke right now, so they got more to worry about.
We've seen that, though. Clemson's still, I think Clemson almost lost to Syracuse in Death Valley a few years ago. So, really, it's not that hard to go in there and beat them.
Well, Clemson's about to score right now, so.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
I'm
hard
looking
to talk
forward to
about
watching that game.
because we're watching the game live while we're recording this. We record these on Mondays. Me, Max, and Reese.
Well, we
It's hard
usually
to
record them
tell
on
with Monday
Sundays,
night
but
stuff.
happy Labor Day. Yeah, so, but next we got Prize Picks.
Not sponsored by the app Prize Picks, it's time for Max's Prize Picks.
Now, we got college football and NFL coming up this next weekend. It's a treat. You know, we're back at it. It feels like, you know, it almost feels like Christmas to me. We get college football and NFL on a weekend, and there's a lot of good games for both sides,
Christmases must be pretty
for
sad.
college football and NFL. What'd you say, Taylor?
Your Christmases must be pretty sad if you feel like Christmas right now.
I mean, amen. College football is college football, man. College football is college football, you know, and I'm very excited for this slate. And I'm going to go ahead and get started with a team that's near and dear to my heart and all of our hearts, Auburn at Cal. Now, this game, I feel like Auburn should win, you know, going on the road at Cal. But it really, like you said, it is a test.
Are they only like
our
6.5 point favorites right now?
Yeah, it's
point
it was-
favorites. But
started out.
ESPN has Cal. They favor Cal in this game for the percentage. According to ESPN Analytics, Cal has a 54.3% chance to win this game. But Cal doesn't really have like a home crowd. Nobody really cares. Besides USC, nobody in California cares about football. And so I believe that Auburn could possibly have more fans than Cal there. And 6.5 point favorites for Auburn. I would take the over on this one. I feel like it's going to be close, especially since it's a super late game after a long flight. We might get a little bit of a choppy start. Get a little bit of jet lag.
Thursday so that they
But-
can get used to the time change.
Yeah.
Freeze is taking them up on Thursday so they can get used to the time change for a day.
See, that's very smart. And that's very smart of Coach Freeze. And I mean, that's why a lot of people love him. I like Coach Freeze the hire, and we'll definitely see how if he's up to the task on Saturday at 9:30 p.m. Central Time. But I've got Auburn winning by plus 6.5, and then over under 55. I'm going to take the under on this one. I feel like since Auburn's going to win, I want this game to actually be a little bit lower scoring, and I feel like Auburn's going to win this game. Give me Auburn 28-10. It'll be like somewhere around 17-10 for a while, but then it'll end up being 28. So,
Yeah,
what are
no,
y'all's predictions?
I'm gonna take Auburn probably. I'm gonna say Auburn wins like 38-17 because Cal's quarterback is injured. He got injured last game against North Texas, but I'm gonna say that Cal probably Auburn's defense is gonna do what they did against UMass and like pressure a lot, and I think Peyton Thorne will get it together this game, and I see Auburn jumping out to like an early lead and. I see it being 38-17, which
is exactly on the over.
Yeah, it's exactly.
It's exactly 55. So.
I'm just taking the middle, I guess, and
yeah. All right.
55. But no, I think we'll be able to pull it out.
Coach Freeze, I love what he's done with Auburn this year. You know, we had the freeze out versus UMass. I was at that game. It was insane. Atmosphere. I mean, we haven't seen an Auburn football atmosphere like that since about 2019.
Yeah.
Coach Harsin just didn't bring Malzahn in his last year and Harsin the past 2 years just didn't bring that atmosphere. He didn't bring that hype around the team. I mean, brand new team. There's new faces everywhere. You got Peyton Thorne, Robbie Ashford with the duo quarterback. You got the thrower. You got the runner. Robbie Ashford with 3 touchdowns. You got Damari Alston, who's a dog. We had 2 other running backs that looked pretty good. I mean, it was UMass, so kind of hard to tell. We got that transfer receiver from Jackson State. We got Javaris Johnson still. We got a lot of weapons on offense. This defense, we got Nehemiah Pritchett. We got
Jalen Simpson.
Yeah, Jalen Simpson. We got a lot of safety corner. We got a good secondary this year. I'm going to take Auburn by 14. I think it will be close in the first half. Just a weird environment in Cal. Super late night for the boys. I do think we'll win by 14. I think we'll pull away in the third or fourth quarter. Give me the cover. Give me the over. I think Auburn's going to be really high scoring. I would have to say this game is about 35-21 is my prediction.
Okay, so over.
So I got the Auburn Tigers, you know, Auburn Tigers near and dear to my heart. Probably gonna go to college there. So
Here,
we got to
here's my question. I saw Jarquez. I didn't go to the game against UMass. I was working, but I was gonna go to the game, but they scheduled me to work. And here's my question. I saw Jarquez Hunter was on the sideline, and he wasn't even in pads. What's going
Yeah,
on
he's
with that?
suspended.
Do any of y'all know like when he's supposed to be
He's
back?
suspended for a tape that came out inappropriate.
Oh, I forgot about that.
It
I
was
forgot
the.
about that.
It's just the punishment for him. Oh my God! It's just the punishment for him doing that stuff. And as I said, that Duke just recovered another fumble and returned it to the 30-yard line of Clemson.
Bro,
So.
ain't no way.
Bro, Clemson's bad this year, man. Clemson's
Clemson's getting in position.
I think you might be right.
They're
I
just
think you might be right.
No, Clemson's not playing bad. They're just getting in position and not like taking advantage.
Yeah, been at the one twice and they fumbled it twice.
Jeez, yeah, Dabo must be.
Actually, no, they've been at the
right
one.
now.
They've been in the red zone 3 times in the second half, and the kicker missed a 23-yarder, and then then they fumbled it twice, and Duke almost just returned it for a touchdown right here.
How much time is
A-Town, go to Clemson, they need a kicker.
It's like 14-26 in the fourth quarter.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, my final point on the Auburn Cal game. I'm kind of worried about their running back. Absolute baller, had 160 rush yards in the first half of their last game. I just saw that stat on like Twitter somewhere. And so Jaden Ott, if you don't know him, look him up. He's been a baller since last year. But no, I got Auburn winning this one. I think the Tigers will complete the road test pretty swiftly. And next we got Iowa at Iowa State, number 25 Iowa at Iowa State. Iowa coming off that win against Utah State 24-14. Iowa State coming off a win against UNI, Northern Iowa 30-9. The spread is Iowa by -4, and the over-under, because last year I think this game ended up being like 7-3 with these two offenses. The over-under is 36.5, and so I'm going to go with Iowa in this one. I just don't feel good. It's the same thing with Northwestern.
What was you thinking about Iowa State?
What?
Is there something about Iowa State that I saw on game days? Is their coach like suspended or something? Or
so a lot of it's not the coach, it's their players for betting scandals and stuff like that. I think they're up to like 8 players and like 3 starters. So
I knew it was something like that. That they had a lot of suspensions.
So it's the same thing with the Northwestern situation. You know, you have all that drama surrounding your program. I just can't believe in you to win games. I mean, they already got one win under the belt, but it was against Northern Iowa. So I got Iowa covering the spread here. And even though that over-under is 36.5, I got it still being lower than that. I got them winning 17 to 10. So 27 points way under the spread. 17-10 win for Iowa on the road. And that's my prediction. What are y'all's predictions for Iowa State?
You always like a good cross, like the cross conference rivals, like Iowa and Iowa State's always been a big. They've always played second game of the year, and it's always. I thought this would be college game day if Iowa State was relevant. It probably would be, but sadly they're not this year. And, Iowa looked pretty good against Utah State, and I mean, 24 points isn't exactly what you want against a team like that. Utah State is a decent team, though. But, I'm going to take you said the unders, or you said the over-unders 38, right?
36.5.
36.5. I'm going to take Iowa, and I'm going to take the under because I'm going to say the score's probably going to be like 17-3. I'm going to say that Iowa State and Iowa don't really score a lot, especially since it's at Iowa State, so.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this one thing where they were trying to talk about, like, what's more likely, Iowa scoring or averaging 24 points per game by the end of the year, or Vanderbilt making a bowl game. And they took Vanderbilt making a bowl game because, Vanderbilt, I mean, maybe, even though they have a tough schedule. But also, Iowa only scored 24 points against Utah State, which had one of the worst rated defenses last year. And they only scored 24 points on them. They thought they'd be revamped with Cade McNamara. They're going to be Iowa State, but it's going to be tough sledding for them if they can't get that offense figured out. Taylor, what's your pick?
They never have a defense.
I don't agree with y'all a lot about stuff. I like to be different. Yep. I mean, it proved last week when I went 10-2.
Okay.
But I'm gonna have to
Yeah, I
agree
forgot
with
to say
y'all.
those records.
I got Iowa. It's gonna be low scoring. Cade McNamara, outworked by JJ McCarthy at Michigan. I mean, I know why, because he's not very good. But
Mhm.
I have no idea why Iowa's a ranked team, to be honest. I know they have a good defense. They probably have a good tight end like they always do. I'm gonna have to go Iowa. I do got the under. I'll say 21-10. I do think Iowa will score 3 touchdowns against Iowa State because Iowa State is really bad.
Yeah.
I do think Iowa State does score 10 points though. So yeah, I got the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Okay, that's a fair enough pick. And I forgot to say our picks from last week, but yes, I finished last with 6-4, being my record. Reese finished second, 7-3, and then Taylor did finish 8-2. And then our next matchup is going to be an interesting one. Number 22 Ole Miss goes on the road to New Orleans to play number 24 Tulane. The over under, or not the over under, the spread right now is Ole Miss by 7. So pretty similar to the Auburn Cal spread. And then the over-under is 64. I don't believe that over-under at all. I don't think that these teams will score high against each other. Both of them. Well, actually, Tulane has the better defense, but Ole Miss does have the way better offense. So I'm gonna go with Ole Miss winning here on the road. As much as I like, New Orleans teams, I always talk to y'all about it. But I'm going to go with Ole Miss on the road. The SEC power is just, it's just uncomparable. Yeah, they beat USC last year, but Ole Miss actually has like somewhat of a defense. It's not a great one, but it's somewhat there. And so I go Ole Miss covering, and give me Ole Miss. I'm going to go that over-under's kind of tripping me out. I'm going to go 31-21 Ole Miss. So that would be giving me the under. I don't think that it will be a super high-scoring affair. I don't think it'll be like 35-32. So 31-21 Ole Miss on the road. Give me the Rebels. And, yeah, that's my pick.
Yeah, no, I'm going to take – I know Taylor likes to be different, but I think I'm going to have to be different here. I think I'm going to take Tulane here.
Okay.
Tulane, we saw what they did last year in the Cotton Bowl, beating USC. I know USC probably wasn't really trying to win that game, but Tulane was able to come back and win that game. And, yeah, I just see Tulane, I kind of like them, especially because they're like one of those non-Power 5 schools that is decent. And Ole Miss, you got to think about it. Last week they played a Mercer team that's terrible. Mercer's an FCS. Tulane played South Alabama, and South Alabama is actually a decent team, but they went 10-2.
People thought they would win, so.
Yeah, no, I predicted that game to be very close.
Wait, isn't Tulane getting aren't they going into the Big 12 next year or something like that?
No,
No.
with the American Athletic Conference still.
Yeah, they're not going in the Big 12.
They're not
yet, at least. You never know.
They're going in Sun Belt still. They're staying in Sun Belt. But no, it's in Tulane, and Tulane has like the best fans ever. I've actually had an opportunity to go to one of their games a few years ago, and they have like the best fans ever. And no, I'm definitely going to take the over on this one because I say it's going to be 45-42.
Jeez.
The game-winning
All right.
game-winning field goal by Tulane.
Okay.
What is Tulane's mascot?
It's the Green Wave, the dumpster monster.
I'm gonna have to go with Tulane then, because I don't understand Ole Miss's mascot. They call themselves the Rebels, but they're the Land Sharks. I don't understand.
Yeah, I know, it's so weird.
Ole Miss's mascot is really ugly. I don't like Ole Miss. I don't like their fans. They're really mean. Ole Miss has a bunch of frat boys too, which I'm not a huge fan of. I know Tulane probably does, but Tulane's one of the. When you think of like a Cincinnati a few years ago, a Houston, they're one of those American Athletic Conference teams that always just gives a few surprises, a few upsets. I'd take Tulane by a touchdown. I got them just with a go-ahead touchdown in the fourth quarter and then stopping Ole Miss. I do think Ole Miss and what Lane Kiffin is doing for the culture at Ole Miss is insane. Ole Miss hasn't been that top team. I mean, they've been decent, but they haven't been a top team in a while. I'm going to have to go Tulane. I think they get the upset against Ole Miss. That line is ridiculous. That over-under is ridiculous. I think I got Tulane about 28-24, I would have to say. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Tulane.
like you said, Tulane is kind of like Cincinnati a few years ago, because Cincinnati a few years ago, even though Auburn wasn't that good, that's the team I rooted for in the college football
And
playoff.
like the UCF for a few years ago.
Yeah, when
National champions, baby.
the Peach Bowl.
Here's my thing is if Tulane beats this team, I'm looking at their schedule right now. Do you think they go clean slate for the rest of the year then? Because they don't play
That's
any
what
other.
I predicted. Yes, that's what I had.
Well then,
that's what I had them as. I had them going
Does
12.
Tulane make the playoff?
yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I was about to say. Because
they
it's similar to
could, but
Cincinnati. They just beat a Power 5 team last year.
it's highly unlikely that they do, but they could. Because after Cincinnati did that, a lot of people didn't like it because Cincinnati was
Because the Cincinnati Bama game reviews were awful because they got no views.
That is true. But
Yeah.
here's the thing. I mean,
who do they got? They got Southern Miss,
no, yeah, there's
Nichols, UAB, Memphis.
North
UAB
Texas.
might actually be a decent game.
It's
East
at
Ca-
home though. It's in Tulane. I would say if it's on the road, that's going to be that would be one to watch.
The closest game I see them is either East Carolina at East Carolina. That's a tough place to play, or UTSA, who is a potential top.
UTSA would be a good one.
That's their last game of the season.
That's the rivalry game for them.
Yeah. Here's my thing. Unless if the Pac-12 doesn't devour itself like they do every year this year, which I don't think they will, because they got so many good teams. I think one of them is bound to go clean slate in that conference. But if they end up devouring itself and say, Michigan blows out Ohio State again or something like that, and Ohio State doesn't get a championship, and Tulane goes 13-0 with a championship, I think Tulane would have to make it. But we'll see that later in the season. Next, we'll move on to a very interesting matchup, which I don't think a lot of people are talking about, but should be talked about a lot because it is a big game. Number 23, Texas A&M at Miami in Hard Rock Stadium, a tough place to play. The line is Texas A&M -4, and the over-under is 51. This game is a tough one because I would have, before last week, I would have gone in this game saying, yep, fully Texas A&M. I don't believe in Miami. They looked so bad last year. They lost to Middle Tennessee at home. I'm not going with the Hurricanes. But they had a great showing last week. They won their game, and Tyler Van Dyke looked –
Was it against Miami, Ohio?
Yeah, Miami, Ohio. They won 30-3. So
that's not impressive. Miami, Ohio is not even that good. And
that's true.
All right,
and then
so who do you got, Matt?
A&M beat New Mexico, and I'm trying to find the score of what they beat them by. They beat them 52-10. Okay, at home. So with that being said, I'm gonna still go with A&M. Actually, now just seeing that, I'm gonna go with A&M on the road. I just feel like SEC. I feel like they have more depth on their team than Miami does. Van Dyke it'll be closer than last year when A&M beat them up actually at home. And then but I think A&M's going to go on the road, beat Miami, and give me A&M, give me them covering the spread of 4. Give me them by I'm going to go, let's see.
Over under
's 51, I know. I think I'm going to go with
much. That's too much for both of these teams, honestly.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 27-20. Give me 27-20, Texas A&M. Late drive by Connor Weigman. Connor Weigman, late drive to cement himself as one of the better second-year players in the SEC.
Yeah.
And A&M's going to beat Miami 27-20. Enough said.
Yeah, I don't really like A&M, honestly, because, they're in the SEC and Auburn has to play them all the time. But still, A&M, they're not good, but they're not bad. They're mediocre. And honestly, Miami they never have any fans show up to Hard Rock Stadium. And honestly, A&M will probably have a lot of their fans come down from College Station to show up to Hard Rock Stadium. And I think it will kind of be like a home away from home kind of environment. And I think A&M will be able to win the game fairly easy. I say it's probably going to be the over-under 51. I'm going to say 38 to, I think 38 to 14, right? I think that would
Oh
make,
wow, jeez.
yeah, 38 to 14.
So you got the over?
Yeah, I'm going over.
Mm.
All right.
Okay.
I'll
Is it my turn?
I say A&M
Yeah,
38.
yeah. It's your turn, Taylor. It's your turn.
All right. So going back to the ACC, you got. I mean, really four decent teams. You got Florida State, UNC, Clemson, and Duke. You don't see Miami show up. Miami the past few years have not been good. But you know who also hasn't been good the past few years? Is
Who?
Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Like
Texas.
Texas A&M is
Jimbo,
always one of those
Jimbo.
ranked teams that is always overrated. They always fall. I just don't believe in Texas A&M this year. I actually got Miami at home. I think the Miami Hard Rock defense will show up. Miami always has a good physical defense. I love their coach Cristobal. I think what he's doing there. He's trying to revive that football program. I think this is a huge win for them. I think they win by a game-winning field goal. Give me 27-24. I think that's a good score.
Yeah, no, I see why you picked them because A&M, like you said, A&M's they kind of fall out
They're
of
just
rank.
untrustworthy.
And Miami fans are ruthless, dude. Like
Yeah, no,
I don't agree with what Reese
Reese
said. I think Miami fans will show up for this game.
The
Now,
only
sometimes, like whenever it's the super small games, yes, Miami fans never show up. They're too busy partying.
yeah,
But for big games like this, and after coming off of a win, I feel like they're gonna show up. It's gonna be a big game.
the only reason I picked A&M is because just Miami hasn't. If they would have beat Miami Ohio like 60-3, then I would say yes, but they didn't beat them that bad, so that's the only reason I said A&M.
Don't get me wrong, I picked A&M as well, but I think it'll be a close one, and I think Miami will give up a good fight. But yeah, I just got A&M in that game. I like what Cristobal's doing there. I think he'll get it done if they give him time to keep it steady. But I got A&M in this one. And next, we move into the biggest college football game of the weekend, of the year so far. Number 11, Texas, at number 4, Alabama. This is going to be a huge game, college game day, 6 p.m., ESPN prime time. Right now, the spread is Alabama by 7, like I said earlier. Over-under is 56. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I told y'all before we hopped onto the podcast that this would be a game-time decision for me. But I think it's kind of crazy because I'm looking at what ESPN has Alabama, like their winning percentage by. They have Alabama 81% chance to win this game. Now, that is also ESPN. ESPN loves to give Alabama outrageous winning percentages. But I'm going to go Bama at home. Bryant-Denny is a tough place to play. And Milroe actually looked good. And also, not only that, but Buckner and Simpson both got playing time, and they also looked decent. So if Milroe ends up, not doing so well through the air, then they can bring in Ty Simpson. Or if he's, not doing so well running the ball, then they can bring in Buckner to kind of switch it up, more of a play action style. So I got Bama at home. I'm going to go, they don't cover because I think they win it off of a game-winning field goal. Give me them I think this is actually going to be a shootout. I think this game is actually going to be 38-35. Actually, no, give me the 31-28. 31-28. The over-under is 56, so I'm going to go over. I know I said it's going to come down to defense, but in big games like these, we saw with the Colorado TCU games and the Florida State LSU, games, it just becomes a big scoring fest when you get these two really good teams. And, give me Alabama 31-28 at home, going over, and Alabama's not covering, but they'll win.
Yeah, no, Alabama. I'm going to say Alabama, even though I don't really like Alabama, because Texas is kind of young, and they played Rice last week, and it wasn't really what I expected from them, because we hear Texas is back, and it never fails. They always lose a game they're not supposed to, and I mean, right here, especially in Bryant-Denny Stadium, it's a hard place to play. We've seen it too many times. Teams come in here. LSU was the last team to beat them in 2019 in Bryant-Denny.
That was the best team, one of the best teams last decade.
I'm gonna take the under here. I'm gonna say it's 21-17.
Ooh.
just because of the fact I just think that it's going to be like last year's game, how both teams were neck and neck for a while and not a lot of offense, a lot of defense. Gives us a good SEC preview for next year. And I'm going to say that it's 21-17 Alabama.
Yeah, I agree with your point. Texas is kind of like the boy who cried wolf. They keep saying, "Oh, we're back," but they're not. They're nowhere to be found. Anyway, Taylor, what's your pick?
All right.
He'll probably
I know I like to be different from y'all.
Yep.
Yes.
We
It
understand.
creates an interesting dynamic. Quinn Ewers, I believe in him. I believe in Texas. I think in the next coming years, Arch Manning, you best believe he'll live up to his hype. Texas joining the SEC raises a lot of questions for the SEC, of course, with like distance traveled and everything like that and all this stuff. Is Texas really SEC material? But I think they are, and I think Texas proves that with a big win in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Yes, it's a hard place to play, but Alabama, I know they played. Who did they even play?
Middle Tennessee,
Middle
56-7
Tennessee.
win.
Jalen Muro, I know he looked decent. He just didn't look like insane to me.
Yeah.
He didn't impress me as much as I thought he should have.
Fair enough.
I think no team with like a quarterback situation like that turns out to be a top team. I'm gonna have to go the Texas Longhorns. I think they're back. Sam Ellinger, shout out to you. Texas is back. Quinn Ewers is gonna ball out. I got the over. I got this game being 45-42.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
That really it's hard to pick between these two teams because both these teams are actually pretty good. That's why I was trying to make up my mind who to pick because I was like, it's really hard to.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to go against Alabama. Like you want to so bad, it's just so hard to go against Alabama.
So let me ask you all this, just real quick before we move into the NFL slate and then we get out of here. Do you think that this could possibly be a rematch in the playoffs?
It's a slight possibility because Texas and Bama both have tough schedules because Bama later on plays Tennessee and Auburn too in Jordan-Hare later on in the season. And I know Auburn, a lot of people don't think Auburn has a chance to win that game, but in my opinion, I think Auburn might have a chance to win that game later on in the season, especially, a lot of the people around here get up for that game, and it's always a fun atmosphere in the Iron Bowl. And Tennessee, too, is going to try to do what they did last year and shock everybody by beating Alabama, even though it's at Alabama this year. And then Texas has Oklahoma, Red River Showdown, Week 5. And then I think they also have, you play teams like Kansas. Kansas is not a sleeper. You can't sleep on them. You can't sleep on Oklahoma State. You can't sleep on BYU. You can't sleep on UCF. You just can't sleep on teams like that in the Big 12. And it's Texas I would say Texas probably has a tougher schedule than Bama, honestly. But Texas and Bama, it's going to be hard to tell whoever makes it to the playoff if they might make it.
Yeah. Now we move into the NFL slate. NFL Week 1. I'm very ready for it to start. NFL is back, and it's better than ever. This season, I actually feel like is going to be a really good one. A lot of teams that haven't been relevant in a while seem like they're looking to be relevant, including Taylor's team huddle, the Jets, with all the moves they made this offseason. Last year we got a little bit of a taste that the Jets are back, but this year we might actually see it in full force. So we're going to start off with the Lions at the Chiefs, the Super Bowl champions of last season. They host the Lions, who a lot of people are very high on, but the line coming into this game is Chiefs -6.5 at home in Arrowhead. Tough place to play. A lot of people say it's the loudest stadium on earth. And then over under 54.5. I'm going to go with the Lions upset pick. I feel like now listen to me here. Chiefs have always been known to, in the Super Bowl run, they've always been known to play a little bit iffy at the start of the season. Because, let's be honest, they are the best team. When it comes down to it, they are the best team. They've been the best team the last couple of seasons. But at the early on in the season, Andy Reid likes to try some stuff out, And a lot of times it doesn't work out. We saw it last year when they lost to the Colts on the road, And so I feel like the Lions get an upset win. They're coming in with a lot of hype. I've seen on their social media. They actually tricked me so much into thinking that this game was a home game because they were saying, we had the loudest crowd, everybody show up, all that stuff. So I got the Lions with the upset. And then give me the over-under. I'm going to say that they win 28 to let's see. I'm going to say it's higher. 31-28. That's my score. 31-28. Lions win this. Not off a game-winning field goal, but because it's back and forth. And give me the Lions 31-28, so I'm taking the over. Lions win on the road at Arrowhead.
I'm going to definitely take the Chiefs because nobody comes into Arrowhead Stadium and wins like that, especially I know Joe Burrow did it that one time, and also a few other people have done it a few times, but it's really hard to win there. And I'm not even going to debate this pick at all. Like, it's just the Chiefs are better, and I'm going to take the under because I'm going to say the Chiefs don't, like you said, they don't start off too well. Start of season, they probably won't score a lot of points this game, but I say it's going to be 24-9. I say the Lions just get 3 field goals and the Chiefs score 3 touchdowns and get a field goal, and I say that 24-9 is the final score, and I'm taking Chiefs.
Wow.
Okay. There's a lot of questions regarding the Chiefs' offense. I mean, I know you got Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. I couldn't name a single one of their wide receivers besides Kadarius Toney, to be honest.
Yeah.
It just raises a lot of questions about their offense. But, I mean, it is Arrowhead. The Chiefs' defense this year, the Chiefs have an insane defense this year. I mean, you got Chris Jones, you got Tyrann Mathieu.
Well, I saw something Chris Jones might not play that first game. That also kind of played into my
I don't care what Max says. I got the Chiefs.
Okay.
I think they cover. I think the Chiefs win by 14. I think the Chiefs are just too strong. Lions will be good in the future. I just don't believe in them right now. I got the Chiefs at Arrowhead.
Yeah, after week one, the Lions will be good.
Yeah. I mean, like you always say, Taylor, you gotta pick some of them different, pick some upsets. That was one of mine I had listed down on my paper. We'll see if it pays off. We'll see if it doesn't. Next, we got another interesting one, 49ers at the Steelers. This one, they're playing, at the Steelers. They got a tough place to play in Pittsburgh, Heinz Field. And, actually, it's not Heinz Field anymore, excuse me. I'm living in, 2015. It's Acrisure Stadium now. I'm looking at it on ESPN. But I'm going to go with the 49ers on the road this year. I mean, they're going to have a great defense once again. And I'm not going to lie, I don't believe on the Steelers that much. There's been a lot of high praise about, their rookie draft class with who they got at cornerback. I forgot, Joey Porter Jr., that's who it was. George Pickens also, absolute dog at wide receiver. I'm not doubting that. But I don't believe in Kenny Pickett. I was never impressed with him last year. He had some moments, but I was never impressed.
Small hands,
and
too.
I believe in Brock Purdy, and not only Brock Purdy, but this defense and all the weapons he has around him. Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and, of course, I'm going to say it a third time, defense. Give me the Niners. The line is 2.5. I think the Niners beat that. Give me the Niners 28-17 on the road, and the over-under is 41, so I am taking the over. 28-17 Niners on the road.
Yeah, I'm going to – this is actually, I'm going to debate this because I think that both teams are actually decent. Mike Tomlin's a good coach. I've always respected him as an NFL coach. He has not had a losing season in a long time. It's been a while. And the 49ers, I also respect them too. They're a very good team. I've even used their defense in my fantasy league before, and it's helped me out.
Yeah.
But, I do think the 49ers will win. And I do think it'll be low scoring. I say something like, 49ers win 17-3. I just think that it's going to be a defensive game. I don't see Brock Purdy really. Brock Purdy might throw a touchdown pass, but I see maybe the defense for the 49ers getting a pick six and then offense getting a field goal. And then I say it's 17-3 49ers.
Yeah.
That's a good pick. I don't believe in Kenny Pickett. I'm going to be so for real.
Yeah,
the Chiefs not the Chiefs. The Steelers' offense, yeah, you got Najee Harris, but
Yeah.
their receiving core is just not it right now.
Yeah.
Their defense is good. They do got T.J. Watt, Cameron Hayward, a lot of those veteran guys that you look for. I do think this will be a very close game. I do think the 49ers win off of a game-winning touchdown by Christian McCaffrey. You just look at the 49ers, George Kittle, Brock Purdy, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. You can go on and on and on. Trent Williams on O-line. I mean, you just look at the 40 and the defense. You got Fred Warner, like big names like that. I just think the 49ers get this win. I do think it will be close. I think the Steelers keep it close, being in like a big time spot. Kenny Pickett's going to try to prove himself in his second year, but I just have to take the 49ers.
Okay. Well, yeah. So all three of us saying the Niners. Both these teams. Yeah, I think the Steelers might have a solid 9-8 season possibly, but they just play in a tough division. And yeah, I got the 49ers winning. So do y'all too.
Kenny Pickett kind of sold on him when he first came in the league for the first few games, but then I realized he was terrible at quarterback.
Yeah, he's just
Did y'all see the
really
stat about how
features
small his hands were
I know.
at the combine? That was hilarious.
Mhm. Yeah. So next we got Eagles at Patriots, another team that was in the Super Bowl, the losers of last year's Super Bowl, but a great team last year nonetheless. The Eagles go on the road to Gillette at the Patriots. And I'm not going to lie, this is kind of me, how y'all were with the Chiefs in the first game that we picked, the Lions-Chiefs. I mean, the Eagles are just so good once again. They retain a lot of their defense. I know Hassan Reddick left, but they bring in some good guys. And they got DeAndre Swift in the trade, who I think is massively underrated. And, I think the Eagles will go into Gillette. They'll win, and they'll win in a statement fashion. Give me the Chiefs 35-17. I think
Max said the Chiefs.
I'm sorry. The Eagles. My bad. I was thinking of the winning Super Bowl team, but no, my bad. The Eagles 35-17. So I have them beating the spread, obviously, and give me the over once again, 35-17 on the road, to win their home opener.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go with the Eagles because the Patriots have absolutely nobody. Mac Jones is a nobody.
Yeah.
It is a washed up running back. They have no receivers. The Eagles.
Ramondre Stevenson's not going to do anything.
Yeah, I say the over under probably. I'm gonna take the over actually because I'm gonna say the Eagles win 48-14.
Wait, what's the over under? Sorry.
The over under is 45. So.
All right, I got the Eagles winning 45-0. Move on.
Hey, fair enough. I mean, yeah, the Patriots aren't good. The Eagles are. So, yeah, enough said.
Max, I don't feel like you picked the best games, man.
Yeah, Max, you could have picked.
All right, Panthers versus Falcons. Who are y'all's predictions?
That was even on my slate, but I guess we'll go with it now. Panthers at Falcons. Yeah, I got the Falcons. Go Dirty Birds. I'm a Saints fan, but I'm still going with them to win in Mercedes-Benz. A tough place to play. Not a good place for Panthers fans to go.
Bro, Mercedes-Benz Stadium is not a tough place to play.
I think the Falcons will win.
Falcons fans do not go to those games.
Nobody goes to the game.
Give me the Falcons 31-14.
I got both of my tickets for under $100.
Breaking the over-under. And so, give me the Falcons 31-14.
No, I'm gonna take Carolina here because
of course you are.
Brian Burns.
Of course you are.
Okay, buddy. You went to a different game.
Right, the Panthers have a brand new offense. They got Bryce Young, the rookie. Bryce Young's going to be a dog this year. Miles Sanders, top running back for the Eagles last year. Adam Thielen, top receiver for the
who is there?
DJ Chark Jr., Harris Marshall Jr. O-line, Taylor Moton. The O-line is amazing. Brian Burns, Derek Brown, Shaq Thompson. You got an amazing defense. J.C. Horn, Jeremy Chin. I could go on and on and on. I got the Panthers by 14. I got them winning 28-14. Now we got the Titans versus the Saints. I'll pick first. I got the Titans by 14.
I don't feel the need to pick it. Yeah, Saints win. Move on.
Titans
move on.
Ryan Tannehill's going to ball out. Malik Willis is going to run the ball really good. I got the Titans.
He's not even starting.
I'm putting all the Panthers flags on the French Quarter, so.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, Saints win, move on. That we're not gonna have time for 6 picks. Yeah, I don't feel the need to pick the Saints game because I know we're gonna win. But anyways, our
You're only
final pick
favored
of
by
the
3
night
against the
is
Titans.
No way,
Dolphins.
Duke. No way,
Dolphins-
Duke just got another
Dolphins at the
touchdown.
Chargers. Yeah,
No
what's the
way.
score of the Duke game? Real quick update before we finish up here.
No way, Duke just got another
28-7.
touchdown. 27-7.
Duke.
Yes, it's over.
Jeez. Oh my
It's
God.
over.
Jeez.
It's all
well, there
over.
you go. Clemson's
There's your
not even
Labor
gonna
Day
be
weekend.
contending in ACC. Clemson's not contending in ACC.
No
North
more.
Carolina, Florida State. That's it.
Yeah,
But-
there's your ACC championship.
Hey, Duke might make a run for it though. You never know.
No. They will.
Hey,
they'll do
no.
it.
Actually, I agree. Duke, watch out for him. Riley Leonard, all of them. But
They
for
might
the
win
last-
like 10 games. They might win 10 games.
yeah. I mean, that's possibly good enough. Depending on who you beat to make the ACC
28.
championship.
All right, what's our last NFL game, Max?
So our last NFL game of the day is the Dolphins at the Chargers. What?
That's actually a good game.
Is that the Sunday night game?
325 on CBS. I've got it's Dolphins at the Chargers. The line is Chargers -3, so very close game expected by the experts. And then over under is 51. Give me the Chargers at home. I think Justin Herbert's going to have a good year this year. I think it's his time. I also think he, similar to Trevor Lawrence, I think they're both in their 4th or 5th years, which is really around the time we've seen a lot of QBs like blossom. And so I feel like the Chargers, it's their time. Austin Eckler's a dog as well. And their defense also is really good with Joey Bosa. So give me the Chargers at home in Inglewood, California, in SoFi Stadium, which is a really nice stadium, by the way. And give me the Chargers. I'm gonna go with them by let me see. I'm gonna go with this game actually being not low scoring. No, I can't say low. I was about to say low scoring, but no. Dolphins, give me the Chargers 28-24. Barely beating the spread, but the Chargers win this game. Dolphins score a couple late touchdowns. And give me the Chargers 28-24, locking it in and beating the over under by 1 point going over. Yeah, Chargers win.
This one's gonna be close, and last year we saw that Ravens and Dolphins game last year. It was like, what was it, 45-30 or 42-35?
Yeah, exactly. That's what came in. That's literally the exact.
That's what my score prediction is for this game, 42-35, and I'm gonna say Chargers win it actually, because I'm gonna say like so much offense because none of these teams know what defense is. Like they haven't touched.
The Chargers got a good defense, bro. The Chargers They got a decent.
None of these players have touched defense since college, like literally.
Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa.
He's the only
I'm not
one.
saying they're a great defense. I'm saying they're an okay. They're better than what Miami has.
The Dolphins might as well put Jalen Waddle at free safety. Like
exactly. See, so the Chargers defense will be the difference.
Yeah, but no, I'm gonna say 42-35. I'm gonna say the over because I just think that it's gonna be so high scoring that like the scoreboard breaks.
Hopefully not
All right.
in the new stadium.
Last pick of the game of the podcast.
Of the game?
Both these fools picked the Chargers. The Dolphins are going to win this game. Tyreek Hill is going to go crazy. Jalen Waddle is going to go crazy. Tua Tagovailoa are going to go crazy. The Dolphins defense, I don't know what these dudes are talking about, but the Dolphins defense is actually pretty good. They have a really good secondary with Xavier Howard leading that cornerback.
It's like saying the Saints are going to win the Super Bowl.
Xavier Howard actually led the NFL in interceptions the past 2 years, so I have no idea what these two fools are talking about. The Dolphins are going to win this game.
Their scores.
The Dolphins are going to win this game 49-42. The Dolphins.
Great defense. Then says they're going to allow 42 points. But anyway, that's going to do it for the Tigers Den podcast. We hope y'all enjoyed.
If you're a Clemson fan, don't come back because we're gonna be hating Dabo Swinney next week, especially since he's gonna get fired after this loss.
Dude, no, he's not.
He's not getting fired.
There forever.
Yeah, I like Dabo, but he's not. He's not getting fired. So.
All right, Clemson did not play that bad. They just shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, a bunch of
they got on the 1 yard line 2 times.
28-7 to a math teacher.
Bro, they got on the 1 yard line 2 times and they fumbled, and then they got an interception that was tipped.
Hey guys,
they would have won the game.
28. No, 28-7 to Professor Jenkins is pretty crazy.
Professor Jenkins is crazy. But that's going to be the end of our show. We hope y'all enjoyed. See y'all next week. And be sure to stream Play Colors as well, coming out every Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. Central Time. This podcast coming out every Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. Central Time. Hope y'all have a good day, and see y'all later.
Peace.
Peace, love, and positivity.
Thanks for listening to this week's edition of the Tigers Den podcast. New episodes dropping every Monday at 3:30 p.m. Central. Also be sure to check out our other podcast, Play Callers, where we interview a coach from Auburn High School football. Be sure to check out those episodes dropping every Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. Central on all platforms.